see as you walk into the Innovation Center in UR. We have an open school. As we're walking in, it's exciting to see it feel a little bit lived in and have work in progress on the wall. And so what we'll do today is, this will be the third time with the CoC being able to be here, and it's been nice to be able to bring you and see it as a work in progress, a little further down the line, and now as a finished school. So as you know, because you've been here a couple of times, this is our multi-use room in our NUR, and we'll start here. We do have the stage, and as you walked in, this area right here will allow a grade level to come and do a performance. And we actually just this last week when I was in, if I look behind me, this divider was up, and there actually were some kids in here doing some work so they could be on their own. And then you had the Innovation Center being used as well. And so already it's being used as we can envision having the ability to close off this space and still have the Innovation Center in UR not be unused as well. So what we'll do is we'll get up, we'll take a walk through, and I think that what we can do is go through our front office in our kindergarten area and circle back around the back so you can see outside and come back through the school and end up right where we are.
Watch out, folks, there's stairs here and there, otherwise it's big steps up. Some people are okay with big steps up.
Given the opportunity, we would have to. I think an exciting thing is you look in here and we can see the design thinking ideas on the wall. We can see the seating areas. There are, as we look through, you'll see books in a number of different spaces. Over here we have our science and art studios that are being used, music in the far corner. And then what's wonderful and exciting to see is as you walk into this during the day, there may be a group of students over here. You might have both STEAM classes being used, and you might even have our innovation designer who works out of this room working with kids in that corner. And so there's just this hub of energy that we really envisioned, and seeing come to life has been, I think this is one of the really exciting things. I think we all, as we walked through it, you could see that this was going to be a pretty amazing space, but to see it coming to life has been wonderful. It's also cool that you can fit a whole class in this area too. So it's, you just end up with these multiple locations where you can have teaching and learning going on.
It smells so good. Yeah. I want to see something about this. Yeah. It's like some.
Are you doing good?
Yeah. Fresh. Hopefully it's not. Oh, good night. It's not here? Okay.
Maybe not. Did I yell at the wrong person? Maybe.
That's
Yeah.
It looks like her.
It looked like her.
Yeah.
She may have been in the hospital to pick up her child into a CoC, so it's not the right person. So our front office entrance, I think it's been really exciting to see the mural that came together, the mosaic. This was something that OBR designed, and really designed it to just be kind of an art piece that brought it in, brought the inside, outside in, and also breaking it up a little bit. I mean, I think they did a really nice job, and it's beautiful to see the wood and the concrete and stucco, but this really kind of helps to also mark the entrance to the school. Principal's office is right there. It's turned out to be a really nice space. It also has the shade so she can have privacy if needed, but also allows her to really see what's going on in the school as you first come in and have your comment from behind, if you remember. And then
the mural continues here, but not over in that space.
Nope, it just kind of come in here and then do this, and then the original sort of thinking behind it was they would flow in and you have this soffit. So it's sort of the idea of this comes in, the soffit that extends it and kind of runs throughout the school. So then we'll head this way, and so if you came in, you were a kindergarten parent during the school day, you can check in here, and then head this way, and this will bring us to our kindergarten area. Still the best view on the campus.
So, Chris, is that a single point of entry?
Yeah. So that center, that's once the school day starts, that is the single point of entry. As we came in, we still have it open at the far end where we met the last couple of times. It's because our after-school program's up there, and so that's where parents would come to pick up their children if they have after-school program here after the day. But during the school day, that would be closed. Let's take a peek in one of our kindergarten rooms. Kind of see our
Makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Hey, we need it. We need it.
And the kids love this little enclosure that's up in there that they kind of climb into and snuggle in, and
There's a whiteboard in there too.
we opened at 337. It's not max capacity, but there are at least 2 sections per grade level. All grade levels are here. We saw a little bit less at the upper, where you have some kids who, had some friends and might want to stay in 6th grade or 5th grade with their buddies at their home school, previous home school, and a lot more at the primary came with to open the new school. So I love these little, it's just a little lower scale, the windows, it's I don't know, the kids, it's been wonderful. The kids are excited, they're happy, you see them running around this playground. This turned out great.
I got to see this at lunchtime today, and they used every bit of the playground. It was
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, all of them, everywhere.
Did you see the kids using the slide to get down to the lunch area?
No, that I didn't see because I walked on the other way, but this
Yeah.
particular playground was, every inch of it was utilized.
That's awesome. We've had very positive. People are very excited to have it in the community. We had a huge showing. Just first day of school. It was. It seemed like everybody brought their mom, their dad, and probably an aunt or an uncle or some other family member to come along. The interesting thing, I'm gonna show that. We had to train the teachers to make sure that everybody could get these locked. And I wasn't at that training. So it's gonna take me three tries.
I heard from a teacher that opened up here that moved from Sycamore Ridge over here, and she's 3rd grade, and she said it's awesome. She goes, I forgot what it's like to open up a new school though, so I think it's a lot of figuring out where your stuff goes and figuring out new stuff, but she was saying it was really, really, really exciting and fun.
I guess so many of these parents had like half-hour, 45-minute ride to take their kids to school and pick them up.
The issue going by the high school and 2 high schools and middle school to get to Sycamore Ridge.
I thought it was actually, I think actually,
Private.
Very enthusiastic.
All of the above.
some of the outdoor furniture too, so the skiing classes that have. Things at recess or lunch, you'll see kids lined up at that spot. Just slide down the level instead of going up the stairs. It's great.
Well, this is really
Water retention. The big fire retention that we saw before. It's at first we hadn't intended to fence it off, but then we saw how high it was going to stay with the difference. We thought maybe a little safety, so it ends up kind of losing a little bit of space. But really, if you think about it, this isn't going to be a very used space with the way that we had to plant it and all. And we still have a huge field that's blocked off for about another week, and then we're going to have that opened up. And so that'll be really exciting. It's actually going to kind of coincide with ribbon cutting. So we'll ribbon cutting, the field will be open. We'll be able to have it open on the weekends for the public, and so.
How will they get into the field then on the weekends?
So we'll keep one or both of the gates at the edges open.
Okay, is this Bristol school like closed off, or is it open to everybody? Just not inside.
Just not inside. So it'll open around, so you can come around to the
Okay,
outside.
and then so this would be available here too. Okay.
Really, there's no way to close off
Just
any outside if you open up to the. I also like how the field turned out. So we had this, and we shaped this a little bit to try to make it a little bit less of a slope. But being so close, I can almost see as it opens up, kids being able to spread lunch a little bit, maybe kind of picnic on the side of the grass that comes to it. And I don't know, I'm excited too to see being able to have the PE track, so PE and other things, running club, you can kind of get a good thing going with that. So this is our lunch area, and our server is right over here. We are serving almost as many meals each week as we did in the month of May last year with the new universal meals. And so they're served out of this server here, so the kids get a card, they walk through, pick up their meal. We have the eating area over here. Once we get the kitchen, which actually should be done in the next month or two, and then we have a contract with the company through the end of the calendar year, and then we'll be looking at transitioning to hopefully using the kitchen in the new year.
What's the white object?
Gaga pit.
Oh, okay.
So it's you hit the ball with one hand, and if it hits you below the knee, you're out. In essence.
We just had to change it so it's 5th and 6th graders one day, 4th and 5th the next, because it just is getting to be too popular.
It's popular and it gets intense.
It gets
It's,
intense.
there's
But
some
a lot of
competitive Gaga
exercise.
pits. Yeah.
Gaga ball. We say Gaga ball. They just had to change it today, so they had to split the grades. I'm not in school, but at different places. It's so popular.
So one of the things we heard from our kids when we were talking to them about playgrounds was more swings. So a lot of times you'll see upper grade playgrounds and they don't have swings, and we made sure that we could get some in the upper grades, in the middle grades. So that was one thing, and then also that just kind of led to making sure we had a larger infrastructure area, but also still making sure we had basketball courts and the wall ball courts, and trying to kind of fit everything. And then that will be the city park whenever that gets completed. We just added the black kind of snow fencing, or
gives a visual, and it also looks and stops a little bit of the dust because it seems like they just go over there and move piles of dirt sometimes. It'll be great in another year.
That'll be a city park.
City park.
Full time.
Correct. Much like a number of our schools, like Ashley Falls or Sage Canyon, where you have a park right next door and the school, and then we'll set up likely kind of over in that area where it's kind of flat at the top of the play structure, some sort of a gating to allow access outside the school.
So during school hours, it's used by the school?
No, it'll be completely separate. So it's not a joint use. There's not any
It's not a
actual
joint use.
connection. It's just we'll make a connection because for the community.
I see.
It's open.
Sure.
There's right on the other sidewalk. There's a little that can be opened like a gate.
Oh, okay.
It does look like a hockey rink. I think it's a little more octagonal. Third, fourth, fifth. They have a little blow ball. No, not that hard. Like the really push up. We run around our house and like whack it against the wall and we can third or fourth.
I'm like, well, it's what? Like, I gotta go.
It's not the old blacktop right across the street. But it's the same blacktop, it just has different lines and markings on it.
Add a little color. I think that's something that came up in our last striping of sites, and some of the principals wanted some, so we went through with this principal too, and just to give a little bit of, it gives it a little more pop. Yeah.
It makes us feel friendly.
Yeah.
This is really nice.
Are the kids using the hooks for the backpack?
Yep, those are backpack hooks.
I mean, are they using them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is our after-school program, designed to be just very much like the classrooms, the big access and opening to the outside, backpack hooks and things, and some of obviously just on the ground. There's also the ability to put them up there, and also intentionally put here so that very easily if you're coming to pick up at the end of the day, easy access. Then we'll head in. The kitchen is up here, but we're not quite done. We roundabout. I can't get you directly there from here. Already needed a new bike rack because so many kids are biking to school, which is awesome as well.
Yeah, there's like a board to get.
This is our 5th, 6th grade wing. You can see some of our 6th grade classrooms. Point out the furniture. It will look similar day to day, but it will move around, and you'll see kids not only in here, but if you came in here during the day, you would see kids in the classroom. You'd also see kids using these areas right here. We truly are seeing sort of the vision of it's not just the room, but you're able to spread out, and this whole area will then end up being one class. Or you might see the 2 5th grade classrooms collaborating with something, and then the kids are just kind of coming together and working on things. And so it's been really exciting to see that it has just come alive. And so we knew that with the support of the professional learning that went through and kind of the thinking behind it, that's the way it would go about. But it's nice to see that it isn't just people inside the room with the door closed. It's collaboration between kids and collaboration between classrooms.
Now we got the skylight open.
Yep. Skylight's been great. Solar has just come online, and so we're excited to see what that does to bills and how that impacts it as we get into the next month. You'll see a lot of books on the back sides of these because we've decentralized the library.
So while you won't see as many in the Innovation Center, you'll see them throughout the school. And so we've intentionally decentralized so that students have easy access to books, and you don't have to wait until your one time a week that you're going down to the library. You finish a book, and look, there's another one right here, so we can trade them in and out and get access to it as well.
Is it by grade level or is it?
Yeah, so it's sort of, you know, you'll see the books up here, kind of more of like the Harry Potter and that level because we're in the upper grade, and then as you get down to the primary, we'll see more primary books in there as well. It's cool to see the blackboards too, and what the teachers and students have done on the blackboards. Actually, I have a picture from this classroom, Miss Allard. First day of school, and I'm walking through, and already I'm doing some sort of first day activity. There's kids here, there's somebody out here, there's already kids out at that table, and just, you know, it's one of those moments where, God, this is awesome. Like it's come together. We're using all the spaces, and it's been fun to see.
How was the noise advantage?
You know, it's not overwhelming. They have their, if you see in that corner, that's a Juno system, so it's a speaker system. They also do close the doors at times. So you have something that we want to do where it's just our class, but close it in. That kind of decreases it so you don't really have an issue. And then we have, if you really wanted a smaller group, we have the couple of small breakout rooms as well. So I haven't heard any complaints about noise level being an issue.
I was just looking at all the hard surfaces.
Yeah.
Wondering, you know, if you have a lot of kids being excited, it could generate a lot of noise.
The carpeting, some of the stuff on the walls, and it's allotted to. It also, one thing, and this was kind of intentional, is having kind of angled surfaces means you don't get the straight bounce, which I think is helped in some ways too.
I think the major thing is the ability to close the doors so that you can isolate the noise if there is.
Yep. Flexibility. So it's for students, you know, if you want to be, it has a little knob, so it allows you to kind of be a little bit fidgety without really going anywhere. And
Okay.
it looks kind of like a skateboard, so it looks cool. And
You train them on hoverboards early.
right? Exactly. You see a lot of them use that.
They do.
That nice little fidget thing. So we move into this, we move into that third and fourth grade. Yeah, this is one of our, and one of our main other entry exit points. So the restrooms are here, so kids in this area would probably head out this way if they are on the side of the classroom and just head out their door to get outside. So they
Balls new, or they come from another campus.
Seen schools develop through the years, but this
They
is
do look
just
pretty well
amazing.
used. I'm not sure if they're brand new or if they, I would imagine we got a lot of brand new ones, but a month of basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's, I would say they're brand new. It's the Pacific Sky. I don't think we brought any old ones over.
But the kids in the other schools, if they ever come over here to visit, they're gonna be jealous.
I'm jealous. I walked through it. I would have definitely loved to have taught in a classroom like this. I remember teaching math and having different groups and doing things, and we, you know, as in a portable. So you had a group outside, and we'd find a table, or we'd go to the lunch area, and I can imagine being able to do stuff in here would have been fantastic. Then one more breakout room and sort of a big collaborative area that we have here, and we get into our first and second grade wing.
You can kind of see into the furniture, but it's just soft.
Yeah. It's also interesting as we got to the operational thing, and the principal talking, and the teachers. I think when we first looked at it, you just kind of thought, okay, well, this side is going to be second grade, and this side will be first grade. But once we started thinking about it, and teachers talking, you saw that, you know, being able to be across from each other would actually make it, and so like these are both second grade classrooms as opposed to next door. So
seeing how they've laid out and how they've worked has been great because you see, I mean, the doors are wide open. They stay like this because they're collaborating, they're working together. I think it speaks to the noise level too, Rob, that if it was overwhelmingly, they'd be closing them up and bringing them together. And yeah, there's definitely times and the ability to do it, but you see a lot of that kind of interaction and working together.
This picture of herself. Let's have a dentist in the family.
Sorry. Wait till they're all young men, but they right.
Once before that, and they've been responsible. So a lot of our second grade library books.
Don't do much flat ceiling. I remember that.
How do the kids, if they're here, are they able to reach up to the top shelf?
Yeah, most of our, you might have a first grader that would struggle a little bit, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then this is another, as we kind of designed, having another kind of space where you could bring kids together, do some learning in the middle. And then on this side, we have a couple of our first grade classrooms as well. An interesting thing, we kind of originally thought that this would be a main entrance, but what we find is there's so much of the foot traffic goes up at the top that there really isn't a need for this to be a main entrance. So this right now isn't being used for a main entrance, and they're using the two main gates outside and not coming through during the start of the day. So you can design for it, but operationally, when you see what truly is the traffic pattern and things, it sort of takes on the right operation for the site.
So when the kids arrive in the morning, they don't all have to come down through the...
No, a lot of them will go through that top area. So a lot of traffic through there, and then some, if you're walking or coming from this area, you might go through the kinder, or if you're coming into school, they'll just come in the front office because there's not that big traffic that comes straight into the school.
But there's an adult to monitor the entrances.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I love this design, isn't it?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're good architects.
They were creative, for sure.
Yeah, good on
Different too.
I was practicing law, and I had clients for architectural firms, design, elementary schools, and one obviously
There is a stairway here.
60s and 70s. What was flexible then? So stable.
It's a lot of open, this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Sitting on a place where
Oh, but I think that's the really cool thing that allow you to balance stuff. Finding things that allow you to fidget without being disruptive to yourself or others and things like that. And also, I think comfort. I mean, you think those plastic chairs that we had for so many years. And, I mean, I've gone to meetings and sat there to make teachers something, and you get up and like there's a bruise on the backbone because it's how hard that thing is.
Yeah. One of the teachers or whatever season you do, the kids are all getting lunch, school lunch. I mean, I guess at this kind of school, they're all getting some kind of lunch.
Most of the art, I'm sure it's such a good track. You don't qualify for it, then you don't get it. Sometimes
Now it's just,
it's just something. And not there, a lot of kids. I mean, we helped in business service. We helped serve for the first week. Up and running, and you see kids holding the door. Getting the school, all the friends getting it. Sure, interesting. Yeah, it's the interesting new thing. So, and it's just stayed like
Any other questions from Mark or Chris?
evening we will share the project and financial update, and you'll notice that it looks a little bit different. We have moved forward with a bond tracking software, key analytics that we've been working with, and so a lot of that will be, the format of it looks a little bit different. We're trying to share the same information that we've shared in the past. So if there's something that looks a little different, or you don't see what you were looking for, let us know, and we'll keep on working on how we display that. But it definitely helps us to track, helps us to do some long-term planning and things when we look at how we're tracking and monitoring and moving forward with the bond. So as we've shared before, our measuring and bond, we sold our Series B in 2022 at $64 million, and we still have about $66.7 million of authorization that we can sell in the future to move forward with other projects. And we'll go through the projects to highlight work. Starting with Delmar Heights School rebuild. On the left, you'll see again project description, the timeline and budget, and so our architects is sort of in construction. We are joined. We have some work we're doing right now that was agreed upon by both sides. So we don't have a project completion date. You'll notice the budget is $200,000 higher. We did have to raise it for legal fees as we continue to move forward with that process. As we shared, the litigation stopped construction as of May 13th. We did go through a back and forth to try to get the outfall repairs done, and if you remember, the outfalls are the water runoff, and it's created some building areas. We had started the work, but we hadn't been able to finish, and we finally got approval, and they restarted that work. So we are happy because that would, honestly, there's the potential for it to cause problems with reserve and be a real, honestly, mess. We're working on that. We hope to have that finished in 3 weeks to a month. And we also have 2 court hearings coming up tomorrow. There is oral arguments in the Court of Appeal. So that is the original lawsuit that is against the CEQA documents. The judge ruled that we had complied with CEQA. That was appealed, and so we will be at that tomorrow morning. There's a hearing for the lawsuit that was filed against the City of San Diego on September 30th. So that is the lawsuit that resulted in the injunction and paused the project. So we will be moving forward and preparing and then going to that hearing on September 30th. And we will be letting the public know, community know, as we hear back and know more about the results of this. We are confident in the work of our legal counsel, and we're confident in our work we've done, so we look forward to being able to have those hearings and move forward and we get that project back.
On a side note, this afternoon, going to our small conference, our litigation partner, Wendy West, was making eye contact with the wall as she prepared for all arguments before. So it was kind of interesting to see her basically expounding to the wall.
I'm sure she'll be wonderful.
Yeah, she was revising her oral arguments several times, had us listening, provided with, so she's going to roll here.
We've seen these many times, but in creating this, we also want something that the public or somebody can pick up and see. So here are some renderings of the site, and again, we look forward to making that a reality, be able to take footage. Pacific Sky School, as we've shared, we've just done a walk for it. We have a project completion date of November 2022, and that's looking at full completion, including the kitchen. We anticipate the kitchen being done by November. It has been funded, split funded between MM funds and the CFD, and so as Mark will speak to the funding that was just seen before. Not the total funding of the $74 million comes from measuring them, but there's a good portion there. The school opened on the 15th. Formal ribbon cutting is coming up a week from Friday, which will be very exciting. The whole public is invited. You receive your invite, and you can make it. We'd love to have you here. And then we anticipate the kitchen being completed by November.
Questions here. In our previous packets, I'm not sure it's in this packet, it said that 49.6 or 5 million came from Belarus, and then the remaining 24.354 came from measuring them. And I was just wondering, are there any funds
So with the CFD 99-1, those funds are the Mellow Ridge funds for Pacific Sky School as well as Sycamore Ridge School. And so the bond that we just issued last year is used up because that was for the construction costs for this school. But every year we do have what's known as excess taxes from the Mellow Ridge tax levy. And so those funds can be used towards the schools, and so we'll be reserving those funds towards the future modernization of Sycamore Ridge.
So there, up until the time when the school opened, there were no excess funds from the Melrose, or there are some,
There
but
were.
they're being reserved for Sycamore Ridge modernization.
Some excess funds were also used for this school.
Is there kind of some detail on that?
Yeah, I can bring back more next time.
Okay, great.
Just some, which actually, this was the picture I took the first day that I was talking about, just seeing kids inside, outside. Again, if you walk through the school, this is very often what it looks like. Doors open, kids inside, kids outside. It's really come together, as you said. It's been beautiful to see learning going on these things. Del Mar Hills Academy modernization, this is the whole site modernization. It is currently in design. We had extra work that needed to go through DSA and get input from DSA because of the structural components of that school site. So we have been working through that process. We've got a geotechnical investigation complete, a set survey that is now complete. We are working through our secret process. The cost estimate was over budget. However, what we are doing is looking at what do we do with Measure M funds, and so the Measure M will stay within the budget. And then looking at how we can use other district funds for things like the field, the play structure, some of the outdoor components to that school site. Just this summer, we did half the field at Del Mar Hills, and so we'll be looking to redo the other half of the field. Part of the reason to do half the field was that community doesn't have a lot of field space, and it allows us to have the public have access for part of the year. And then it allowed us to do it through some restricted maintenance funds. So we're finding ways, despite the fact that the structural just makeup of the school, it's not a danger in any shape or form, but when we redo it, there are pieces that will need to be taken into account. So we are looking at how we can make the most out of the school with a couple of different funding sources, and what will likely be coming back to that community and to the board with is the modernization within the walls of the school site with this budget, and we'll be sharing about that with the CoC. We'll be happy to speak to some of the other things that we do related to restricted maintenance and making sure we can take care of the other outdoor items that go along with it.
So the cost estimate increase is mainly in regards to the structural?
Yes, so the building itself was built in 2 phases in the 70s, and there are basically steel structures that come up and then cast in place concrete that just fills in. And so to make modernization, we have to replace a whole lot of that concrete. And so we are still working through some analysis with the architect and with a team that's doing special inspection work to refine that and finalize it, but it required more input from DSA to see how far we need to go and what are the requirements. And so it's just delayed some of the design process. We probably figured we'd be done with design by now, but that also, by having to make some tweaks, we want to then be able to go back to the public. So likely sometime this fall, we'll be scheduling an opportunity to go back and get some input from the Del Mar Hills public, and then bring that back to the school board to share out what the design looks like. I don't think the interior will look drastically different, but we had ideas for how we might redo some of the exterior, and how we might be able to do more work exterior within the bond funds that unfortunately won't be part of the bond funds. So we'll look at how we can do it with other funding sources.
Because I was a little confused when it said cost estimate over budget here in the blue, but the estimated budget didn't change.
So the cost estimate was over budget. Our budget that we are going to use will stay on budget.
Okay, so you.
And so it is changing scope instead of changing cost, instead of changing budget.
So the original
the scope under the Measure MM project will reduce, and then we will use other funds to do some of the exterior work. Yeah. But it wouldn't play in the PDF, so I'm happy to pull up. I do have a video I can fly over of the Pacific Sky, but it didn't embed into the PDF, so so for example, Kathy, some of this work with going down to the field, how we can do that, how can we do it, might need to do it at a slightly lower scope. We'll be replacing the play structure, but that'd be a different part of the scope and the interior. So there, it'd be into different district funds that would be a part of this CFC rebate measure. Yeah. Then modern learning environments, as you know, we've prioritized doing classrooms at every school site so that a school site like Sycamore Ridge or Oceanair, who is newer in the district, students and our community don't wait to have impact on the classroom until the very end of the bond program. So we have been working on classrooms. Every school site has been impacted. This last summer we modernized 44 classrooms across the district, and we built a new school and put furniture in here. So the work of our staff, from our maintenance staff to our instructional staff to our business staff, they went above and beyond to make that happen. Really impressive. We have a $10 million budget for this. And then this budget will actually be, it's pulled from some of the modernization from each of those sites, because that will be modernization of some of those classrooms. And we'll have a lesser modernization project when we get to some of those schools that are at the end, because we may have done most or all of the classrooms by the time we get to, say, an Oceanair, which is the new school district. And so you've seen classrooms at the school, and we have that happening at schools across the district where we are making an impact in the classrooms so that we can have our students in learning environments that we know are best. And then playground replacements. We know that play is a huge part of elementary school life. We've gotten a lot of input through our design processes. We've gotten input from students at school sites, and so we have been updating our play structures at our school sites. Sycamore Ridge was done in the summer of 2021. Ashley Falls and Cornell Del Mar this summer. Due to some supplies taking a little bit longer, we are still finishing up a couple of those, but they are almost done, and we have at least one or two of the play structures at each of those schools finished and a little bit to complete. And we're looking at Oceanair School, Sage Canyon School, and Torrey Hills School this next summer. Del Mar Hills Academy may be moved into that timeline. So between the next 2 summers, we look at getting the remaining 4 schools replaced as well, so those play structures are updated for all the students across the district. So this is the in-process work at Carmel Del Mar and Ashley Falls. We're finishing these off, and actually this kindergarten play structure is finished. This was from a board presentation. It's already done in the last couple of weeks. This kindergarten play structure is also finished at Carmel Del Mar, and we're waiting on the final pour of the primary play structure at Ashley Falls and the completion of the exterior play structure. And then we have our district-wide surgeries, and this is another place where we do see a slight change in the budget. In this case, it went down by $35,000. So we originally budgeted $30,000, and it's moved down to $795,000. We installed surgeries at all schools except for Pacific Sky and Del Mar Heights. Del Mar Heights is obviously still a work in progress. Pacific Sky, and they both will have surgeries. But these have allowed us to be able to go from 15,000 meals in a month to 15,000 meals in a week. And we have, each school has a slightly different layout, but it rolls down so we can have it secure outside of school hours. We have refrigerators and areas to serve food, and then we really work with our school sites to move those lines along to staff things up, and done a lot of work and continuing to try to make improvements so that we can go from no program to a very robust program. We've had great feedback from kids. I was at Oceanair. Our business services went out and supported that first week, and I had a student walk away, best lunch ever. And it's like, awesome. Wasn't expecting it to go quite that long.
What were the savings? What was the savings? Was it just?
It was estimated. It was just what we put into each of the servers. So just a slight difference in total cost. And with that, I'll hand it off to Mark for our.
say to kind of take on to what Chris said, so much was done in the last year, and it was all done so beautifully well. And 3 of our staff members are in the room right now who have had so much to do with this success. And Michelle, our lunch program wouldn't be what it is without you, and Mark and Chris leading our business department. I just, when I look at that in its entirety, it's really amazing what has happened with our facilities this past year. So thank you. On behalf of the entire district and first and foremost our children, well done.
So as Chris had mentioned earlier, we are in the process of implementing a new bond software program at the last meeting. And so the upload of the financials was already in the last meeting, but for this meeting it was. So it's going to work a little bit different. And as he also mentioned, if there's something else that we want to include on the report, we can work with our vendor and try to do that. And so starting on page 20, we'll have the cumulative expenditures of the bond from inception through, actually there should be, yeah, it is this 31st. And so what's changed a little bit is we have moving into the system, we're grouping our expenditures into major categories. So the major categories are mainly modernization, the modern learning environments, which are the classrooms and STEAM areas that we're renovating throughout the years, play improvements, lunch serveries, we're moving forward with some security projects, and then also some of our lawn projects. So it's separated by school sites. So the first school is Ashley Falls. You can see we've spent in 3 categories right now. In terms of encumbrances or actual purchase orders that we've issued, we're at 1.1 million. We've spent about 415,000. So that means we have about 660,000. The server is the one project that's complete there. On line 3. So similar expenditures throughout the schools. The difference with Delmar Heights is that there's just the one line for the rebuild, which is still in process. Also, Delmar Hills Academy has the modernization since that's in the design phase right now, so it has all those design expenditures.
So, question, you've got the complete rebuild of 2 schools in Boston County here. The total comes out to $96 million. So you've only encumbered like half of your bond authorization. Just wondering how you're going to spend another $90 million, or do you plan to spend another $90 million of bond authorization?
We do. So we're gonna, it's for 10 years, the whole program. So we're only in year 2.
But there's nothing else comparable building 2 new schools that's on the horizon, right?
No, but we have 7 schools that have needs that are substantial, and so each of those schools, when you build them out, you think about, we have 90 in those 2, and you have 7 that you get 94, and you're talking about 12, 13 million per school. 12 or 13 million when you talk about redoing roofs and
That's
HVAC
what you
systems.
gave that example last time when I asked about solar, and you were like, yeah, we can't do solar until we fix the roofs on a lot of the schools, and that I can imagine is an expensive project.
Right, so by that time, towards the end, like, for example, Ocean Air will be about 30 years old at that time. So it's refreshing a lot of infrastructure.
Never ending.
So similar expenditures, Sage Canyon has very complete modernization, smaller projects where we replace the blinds and the sound system in the MUR. The new construction of this new style.
Wouldn't the lunch serveries all be completed, or are they just happened?
So some are still in progress just because we're waiting on some equipment, and so we'll be paying those invoices probably in the next month or so. And so as Mark had just mentioned, so far purchase orders we've issued 96 million, of which we just spent 44 million. So we have about 52 1 month, or like right now we'll be paying August construction invoices in September, so it could be performed, or also equipment has been ordered but not delivered yet. And starting on page 24, we have our quarterly expenditures from June 1st through the end of August. So for Delmar Heights, one that I want to emphasize is just the buffer baby. Even though our construction stopped in the middle of May, we still have to pay some of our construction costs through the middle of May, and then we also ordered some equipment to get the start on ordering those equipment, so that way when we're ready to start the project, we're ready to start on time. There was one refund from the city of San Diego since we had a double payment of the invoice, so that was one of them is a positive number on the bottom. And so Delmar Heights, we spent $2.8 million. There's quite a bit based on each category. So overall, this quarter, if we just move to the end, they're pretty standard. The only other one with major expenses is Pacific Sky School, where we spent $3.4 million. Similar type of expenditures are furniture and equipment, Harrison Hall, who's the main contractor for that project. And then on page 29, you see that this quarter we spent $7.2 million.
Questions? Let's see, back to page 22 with Pacific Sky School conferences. I was just wondering, is this again just a lag that we still have 919,000 encumbrance balance just because it hasn't been either billed or it has been billed but not yet paid?
Correct.
So by our next meeting, it will be zero because Pacific Sky will be done and there won't be any typically unpaid expenditures by then. Is that correct?
Potentially, the only thing in my mind that I'm thinking about is with our general contractor, we have to make payments to them under the lease back. So that, off the top of my head, I can't remember where that goes until, but that was for, I believe, 20 or 24 months. So it might be spent past the next meeting.
One question I have is, at a higher level of money that's not being spent, is that in like a money market account? Where does that go? Because I just have curious.
All of our funds are held in the treasury, the MSA treasury.
So you get the interest rates.
That's a treasury gets, but it's very minimal. Like the past year, it was maybe 0.5%.
Just because now interest rates are better, unfortunately.
Public agencies, specifically school districts, are required to keep bond money invested through the county. The county is actually your banker through its banks to hold the bond money. You can't go outside of the county, the statutes don't let you. And that money is only available to be invested in a limited narrow range of investments, all of which are very secure, but few of which provide any kind of real proof in terms of earnings. So it's designed to make sure that you go forward slowly as opposed to big dips and ups and downs and lose a batch of bond money based on investments.
And then the rest is still not issued yet. So
We have gotten, I have gotten used to the old expenditure reports that compare to budget, the original budget, and then the budget through whatever time frame was being shown. And I don't see any of that in the new software. So is that a possibility to get the reports looking more similar by comparing them?
yeah, we'll work with
sites of classroom modernizations that the committee might meet at and see. So you can get a chance to see what a bond-funded classroom modernization or modernizations Chris is thinking.
Yeah,
If not, we've had these at the district offices.
We could, but again, given the time of day and the fact that the committee seems to have enjoyed the tour here, I'm just thinking if there's a site with classroom modernizations.
Or even a playground.
Well, remember it'll be dark.
You just had put something on my
I was thinking, we could maybe do a playground in March and do the modernization in December.
how about Ocean Air? We have Ocean Air and Belmar Heights at that site, so we kind of get to visit
You
two
think Ocean Air will be ready to receive us in December?
Oh, they're already, all those, the classroom modernizations are complete, so we do them over the summer, so we're not impacting.
Right. So.
And honestly, time, we'll be inside, so.
Yeah, okay. So,
Whatever.
if we look at, what about Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th? That work for everybody?
Wednesdays are typically Monday.
Okay.
Could we go-
December 6th?
Is the 12th too late? I have a conference then.
And 12th would be great. I'm sorry?
Monday the 12th?
Monday the 12th, what about Monday, does that work for everybody? Monday the 12th?
And that or the 5th.
12th going once, 12th going twice. Solo, December 12th, and we will meet at Ocean Air School with the idea of doing, Mark and Chris, if you could put a tour of modernized classrooms on the agenda. Comments from committee members, are there any?
Can I ask, are we doing 5 o'clock again? Do we want to do 5:30?